meet you, Marty. It's a real honor. I've been following you since Cacophony, and this was back in '88, '89. I had a little Jackson, and my friend had a Charvel, and he was the Racer X guy. I was the Cacophony guy, and on my way up here, I was thinking about something that happened one night. And this is probably 15, 14 years old. We got really fucking hammered drinking nitro. And we actually came to blows. We just knocked the shit out of each other because I was a Cacophony guy.
Yeah.
And he was a Racer X guy.
Who won?
It's hard to tell. Neither of us could remember. It's just a blur of this. But we were pretty banged up after.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. It's worth it. I'm a Marty Friedman act.
It reminds me of when I was a kid. It was Kiss and Black Sabbath against Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't like them both. So I guess it was still that way in Cacophony Racer.
Yeah, amongst the guitar nerds of the late 80s.
Isn't it funny? Because we were all like good friends, so we didn't want anybody to fight over it.
I've been spending the last 4 or 5 days listening to your new record, Wall of Sound, and I really haven't kept up with you since around 98 or 99.
Wow.
It's just after all.
Some Marty fan. You left out that whole period of time.
Yeah, I didn't care about it. That's okay.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah,
well,
basically.
it's all good, my friend. It's all good. Go back and check that stuff out too. You might like it.
Right on. But I was just mad. All right, that leads me to another story I got to tell you. But it's not important. Anyway, with today's metal scene being so oversaturated, the rise of deathcore in black metal, that's become really popular. That and that's the technical metal that has just kind of had a baby and kind of became deathcore. Anyway, and I always try to sample music that I write about, just to kind of get me in the zone, as I'm writing about it.
Right.
And I'll be Burn the Midnight Oil, and it just sucks. There's nobody in the house. It's dark. I'm listening. And it's like, God, I don't want to listen to this shit, But anyway, listening to your record the last 4 days has been really, it's been kind of a relief listening to it. On the record, Wall of Sound, the melodies and the arrangements have much more joy and hope being expressed. And I think that's something I really appreciated. Even if a song starts out sad or lonely, it always, it evolves to a conclusion that has a lot of brightness and illumination in terms of the notes and with your style of playing. And I really want to know, Marty, what is it that inspires you as an artist to be a force of light in a darkened metal scene?
Well, that's very nicely put. It's a big compliment. I think my main challenge after making music for so long is to go deeper than just writing cool riffs and cool solos and things that make you go, wow, that's heavier, wow, that's a great guitar part. I think, at some point you rise over that. Hopefully I've risen over that a long time ago, but as you continue, this is my 13th record, I try to actually tap into real emotions that people can feel. And the only way to do that is to live with the songs for a long time and actually invest my own emotions in these songs. So when I'm writing the songs and creating the demos, I'm living with them as if I'm listening to someone else's music and going through my life and going through whatever's going on in my life and how those songs bounce off of me during that time. During that process, I get rid of so much stuff that doesn't last up to 3-4 months, and I really try to analyze what are the moments of the song that make you feel good, what are the moments that bring a tear to your eye, what are the moments that kind of get you excited, what are the moments that make you feel sad, those type of things, the actual tangible feelings. That's what I shoot for, and it's kind of a pretty lofty goal, but you take as long as you need to get it done, and I feel like I did a pretty good job this time.
Yeah, you're gonna love this one, Marty. One of my favorite tracks to listen to on this album is the song "Sorrow and Madness," the, which of course is the one you composed with Jinx of Blackville Bride. I love how you guys took one melodic phrase and you guys used it in such a way as if you were taking that melody and telling a story with it. I mean, that's just what it seemed. It's like in the beginning, when there was a break after the beginning madness, it seemed like almost as if the violin and the guitar were having this conversation with each other with that melodic phrase. And it personally, for me, it made me think of the last movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. And that really kind of, when I thought about that, it kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand. It's like, oh my God, this dude really knows how to write. And question that I have is, can you share with us about how the development of forms, and it's not necessarily in a rondo form, but it's not a form, from what I'm grasping in a lot of your songs. There's not too many metal musicians that have balls for that. And
ways of writing, but in this particular case, you mentioned this theme, and the theme is always the most important thing of any song that I would write in the first place. Mm-hmm. So the theme goes through a lot of different interpretations. It starts off one way, and then you hear it again in a different way, in a different background, in a different background. It's not a new concept. I mean, it happens in classical music. It happens in movie music all the time. It doesn't happen too much in pop music or metal music or rock music, because usually when the melody comes up, it's the same interpretation several times, which is fine too. But like in this case, it starts off as a gentle violin, and then it comes back again in a different form, and then it comes back in a really heavy and dissonant form, and then there's a lot of things that happen before that builds up to it. And so that's kind of a classical approach, but doing the collaboration with Jinx, my whole concept of collaborating is not to just have a guy come in and do his thing. I wanted him to be committed to the project, and to be committed means that he would have to write some parts, and he wrote a very important part of that melody, which I took and I moved it around and I changed it and arranged it, and he added his own things on top of that, and we kind of snowballed. So it's really a true collaboration. It's not just like, okay, play a solo and I'll fix it in the mix. So you really get the feeling that we're having that conversation. And that's one thing I really like about all the collaborations on Wall of Sound and my previous album, Inferno, which I really devoted a lot of time to making sure the guests were equally as committed to the song as I was. And that worked out really well for me. So on this song in particular, I'm really happy with the collaboration.
Awesome. Another thing that I've enjoyed while listening to this record is making the attempt to unpack the meaning of some of the really interesting song titles on this record. I thought, rather than myself coming to my own conclusions about it, about the title of the songs, because I'm listening to the emotions that are being expressed in the music, and I'm okay, all right, what is this? Like, for example, what is it that inspired the title Self-Pollution?
Self-Pollution. Well, I knew that I wanted to have a song that had some drastic contrast in it, like really balls out, metal, frantic kind of parts that are connected to really the complete opposite, really spacey and calm parts that don't give you the same contract coming back, but build you back up to that. It's really kind of a simple concept to do something super heavy, then something super light. It's like, what's that song, the Nirvana song?
Right.
You know, you start off with something light, and you play heavy, light, it's real calm. But in this case, I knew I wanted to start off full on balls out, then go down to zero.
Right.
And then build it back up even higher, more crazy than the beginning. And the title, I don't know how much it has to do with the actual song, but the title, I was thinking that when I make a video for the song, it would be good, because self-pollution has a lot of meanings. I was thinking of kind of vices that people have, You know, too much drinking or too much eating or too much drugs or too much sex or too much gambling. All those fun things that done in excess can give you pollution.
I was just thinking of that, and that's awesome. I quit drinking 3.5 months ago. And that's exactly what I was thinking. Sorrow and Madness.
Well, that, that, for Kiss fans, it's a part of a lyric of the song that most Kiss fans would probably recognize right away. But I've done a ton of interviews and nobody's noticed it yet, so I think I probably should have kept it quiet. But it's a lyric from a Kiss song that seemed to perfectly match the song itself, because it's got a lot of sorrowful points in it, and it builds up into this madness thing. And I'm like, why hasn't anybody ripped off this lyric before? So I always thought that'd be a cool song title, and this song just screamed for it.
Here's another song that really grew, and as far as the composition, ran with the theme. Streetlight. What is it that inspired that song title for that particular?
To me, that's the most unique. I don't know if most unique is a proper English grammar phrase or not, but it's a very unique track on the record because the melody is just really, really romantic, but the interpretation is just balls out metal. And I've never really heard anything like that before. I think the clash of those two influences is very weird. It's like the melody is like a 50s doo-wop type of melody, and the interpretation is like double bass, fast, detuned guitars, all that kind of stuff. So I just thought that contrast was super interesting. And, I had a hard time titling that one. I was trying to think of like the 50s, West Side Story kind of thing, something like dark street corners and things like that, because that's what the melody reminds me of. And when you think of street lights in the 50s, it kind of gives you that melodic feel, is my interpretation.
Wow.
Not the best stuff. I never came up with the perfect title for that, but I think that's pretty close.
What about White Worm?
White Worm. I just thought it was a cool combination of words, and that intro is like a worm. It like slips and slides around, and I thought it was just kind of a cool title. It's kind of catchy.
I like it, and it eventually turns into a Dune-sized worm. And this one, I've been just really scratching my head. Look, for a friend, it sounds to me that must be a tribute to a friend.
Good guess.
Is that friend still with us, or is he?
Well, no, it's not particularly for a particular friend of mine. It's like the concept was, like, especially from guy to guy, it's really hard to tell your friends or even your family sometimes that you love them and how you feel about them, that you care about them, and you're thinking about them. It's really hard for guys to do that. But I think guys do it in their own way, especially me as a kid and rock fans in general. They trade tapes and they make mixtapes for each other. Like, dude, you should hear this. Dude, check out this guitar player. Check out this drummer. Check out this band. And that's kind of like guys' way of saying, I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about what you like, and I'm doing something for you. And it's kind of like guys' way of doing that kind of thing. And I'm sure girls do it too, but I thought in that song I'd like to encompass that feeling in a song. And that's the way I feel. Especially if a guy were to like give that song to another guy. It's kind of a very romantic song, but I mean, I could still see myself, giving that to a guy. Actually, my webmaster, he's a really solid fan of mine, but I know he likes my ballads a lot, so I sent him that ballad right when it got done. And he really liked it. And, so it's like one of those things, you can't really say what you feel to like your guy friends, but you can do it with a song, and that's kind of like what I want to do with that song.
What about Pussy Ghost?
I was just going to call it Pussy. I really was, and I wanted a song title that was just kind of brutal like that. The song's not going to get any airplay anyway. I mean, it's the heaviest song on the record, so I might as well go balls out on the title. And then I thought, wow, there's kind of like a spooky ghost kind of thing going on in the song. And actually, parts of the song where it sounds like a cat, like a pussy guy, and the guitar actually sounds like a cat. And I just thought, well, that's kind of one hair slightly classier than just calling it pussy.
You know what it made me think of, Marty? I had this Sphinx cat, which was a complete hairless cat. It was really old. I mean, she was 13 years old, and she was just ugly. She just had the Yoda face. Me and this cat were really close. Anyway, after she finally passed away, it made me think about, the dog was tripping out because the dog loved the cat too, and it was weird watching this big husky interact with this bald Yoda thing. And after she died, there was just weird shit going on in my apartment. That's kind of what it made me think.
There you go.
The Blackest Rose.
Well, I always liked that song Black Rose by Thin Lizzy, the old song. So I thought I would rip off or do a homage, however you say it, to that title and make it one block.
Right on. How about Something to Fight?
That was a lyric that Jorgen wrote. It was one song on the record with vocals, and he wrote the lyrics. And it actually, it was something. The actual title was Something in the Night, but I thought that was a bit too cliche. And since Something to Fight comes up in the song, I thought that would be a bit more aggressive sounding.
How about Soldier?
Soldier, that one I had this kind of image of like a soldier, a soldier has a very like heavy action kind of image, they're doing a lot of exciting stuff, and it's really brutal. But I think in reality that they have a lot of time being really lonely. We who don't do that as a job think it's all like, Call of Duty and just like ramming people's heads off and stuff and doing all this glamorous hero stuff. But I think in reality there's a lot of personal time where it's just like really lonely, and it's probably really scary, and you're in a place where you don't understand. And I went for kind of a Chinese theme, an Asian theme. Not that there's any kind of war going on or anything like that, but I just thought that feeling fit, and I just thought that soldiers should be recognized. People who actually do that job should be recognized for just how hard of a job it really is, and not just because they could get killed, but just for all the time they have to be in a frightening place by themselves. So it's like a kind of a theme of loneliness. I grew up on a base in Germany, so I have a lot of respect for people who, protect our country and things like that. So I kind of went that route on a theme for that song.
That's cool, and that's kind of what I got out of it too. I spent 7 years in the Marine Corps.
Oh, well,
And my first assignment after I got out of my MLS school was in Okinawa. And just being half the world away from family, and having to hurry up and do things, and then you have periods of time where you're just by yourself. Miracle.
That's kind of like the most uplifting song on the record, And when I wrote it, I was thinking, that great feeling you get when you've accomplished something like that's really been really super hard, like for example, Ironman marathon or something, or graduating college, or these big emotional milestones in your life that you can't believe actually happened. In my case, I always wanted to play in Budokan, and so when I played there, it was like it's a miracle that I'm here. It's been like a slow rise to get the things done, but things happen, and there's just like something you can't explain, the feeling. Everybody has it. Everybody has these little or medium or big accomplishments in their life that make them feel like, wow, I really worked for it, I earned it, I feel really good. And I just tried to like put that feeling to music, if possible.
Wow, that's awesome. And the final track on the record, The Last Lament.
Last Lament. Well, it's the last song on the record, and it's a very, very sad piece of music. Yeah, I knew it was going to be last. It's probably the most, what do you call it, ambitious piece of music on the record. It goes to the most tangent, so to speak, and I'm always afraid of tangent music because it just sounds directionless. But it was quite an effort to make it all make sense. And it's just a very sad piece of music. It's the closer on the record, so I call it that.
Right on. Here's another one. Almost done.
Yeah, I think we got to do our.
You guys got to hit. You
Yeah.
guys hit the stage.
We got to do the VIPs.
Okay, cool. I'll make this one real quick then. I've read that you've been named as Japan's Heritage Ambassador for the 2020 Olympics. I read years ago that you also had a love for popular music in Japan, and I'm interested in finding out how that passion in Japanese pop music eventually evolved to representing the country in this unique way.
Yeah, that's a super long journey, but you know, if you follow the things that are really interest you, and I hate this word passionate about, I really hate that word. There's got to be a better word, because that's just like what people say when it's really bullshit. But something that you would do even for nothing. You know, like music, I'd be doing it whether I'm like, you know, playing for one person or a billion people. I'd be doing it anyway. So when you're doing something that you're really into doing, things find you. You know, when I went to Japan, I started playing the music I wanted to play, and I started playing with the people I wanted to play with. And then, you know, some left turns happened. You know, I started doing television, and I started doing things that I hadn't planned to do, but they were all good things that took me even farther in a more branched out direction that I didn't even know I was capable of. And then, you know, often I get asked to do things that are really quite an honor. Like I played at the Tokyo Marathon opening ceremony a couple months ago.
Wow.
And I'm American, you know. Usually they would have a big Japanese act do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you wouldn't have a foreign person play at the Boston Marathon.
Right.
So I was just so honored. You know, I'm just honored to be one of the ambassadors to Japan Heritage. I'm not the only one. There are like 6 or 7 others. One of the other one is Matsui from the Yankees, and it was really quite an honor. And how did it get that way? I honestly don't know. I've done so many things in Japan that I don't know what event it was that tipped these people off that I might be good for this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is I did. I've done millions of TV shows, radio, newspapers, everything. I try to represent America the best way I can. I try to represent Japan when I'm out of Japan the best way I can. And I think that's what got me. It's like when I come to America or Europe, touring South America, people often come to me and ask me about Japan. And I think that might have been the charm point to the people making those decisions. But I'm blown away by the whole thing.
Right on. Marty, it's been a real honor and a pleasure.